Praise be to Allah. Attention prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, striving to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and of this I am commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess of my faults. So please grant me protection against all of my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me unto the best of morals, for none guides unto the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away the evil and the indecent morals but thee. O Allah, make Muhammad successful and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham and the true followers of Abraham successful. Surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham. Surely thou art praised and magnified in our midst. Ameen.
Ameen.
Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, family. So welcome to your master call. We have a special edition today for the second call in a row, which we love to have a series of specials. So we have today our special guest, Sister Leah Muhammad. If anybody has any questions for her throughout the interview, please send them directly to Brother Jeremy 2X, our co-host in the chat, so that we can get those in line for our sister. We have a special call lined up for today. So I'm going to pass it over to our sister Jadea.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Super super excited for this conversation. Been looking forward to it for quite some time. We're honored to have our dear sister, Sister Leah, present with us. She's got just such a bevy of knowledge and wisdom to share from her experience. Well, we have like a whole like introduction for you, dear sis. But first of all, how you doing? How are you?
I'm fine by Allah's grace. Have some technical difficulties, so we're working it out. But I'm so honored and happy to be here.
Praise is due to Allah. We're honored and happy to have you with us. As brother to everyone, as Brother Demetrius has said, if you have questions, please send them to Brother Jeremy, and we will call upon you in sequential order. Thank you to those who have sent your questions in advance. And Sister Leah, so we're on the wavelength, right? So quick story as we get into an introduction of our sister, and we can jump right into the questions. So boom, there I am walking through the streets of Brooklyn today in my Dematis, having myself a great time. I come in and I'm like getting ready for this conversation. It's been on my mind, and something says to me, put on your red 19. And so today is, September 19th, and our dear mother, Sister Tynnetta Muhammad, was, among many things, also a fashion designer. So I think I picked up on the wavelength because
yes, ma'am.
It'd be mad funny if we end up matching, and we do. So that's beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
To everyone, this conversation came about. First of all, I just want to shout out our other staff member, Brother Darren, who can't be on the call today, but who also was instrumental in making this conversation happen. And so he just had some thoughts to share as well. And I want to share those as we introduce our sister and get into questions. He said, Assalamu alaikum, and that each of us are challenged to overcome the weaknesses of our own selves, and that none of us, whether we are conceived with this knowledge in the minds of our mothers or fathers, or that we have come to accept our own, like none of us have gone unscathed by the workings of Satan. But he points out that, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has proclaimed that sin reduced you to nothing, but God said, I'm going to take nothing and use it for my glory. And that the premier star in our midst today is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that he has been blessed to have stars of God to walk with him in this magnificent journey as that messianic figure who would fulfill the other third left that would complete the work of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that one of those great stars is Mother Tynnetta Muhammad. as a faithful wife of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and a faithful companion and helper to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that the value of her contributions are such that though she's no longer physically present in this moment, the light of her works is still casting out the darkness in the minds of those who are, any of us who will be blessed to read her works. And also through those who her light has touched personally, and Sister Leah is a person who is one of those people who has been touched personally by the light of our dear mother, Tynnetta Muhammad. He said about you, Sister Leah, that from his short time knowing you, that it's clear that you're a very powerful sister, that you love with a pure love. Your humility, and I bear witness to that. Your servant spirit, and I bear witness to that. Your sister and soldier nature, bear witness to that. And anyone here who knows her, you know. And if you don't know her, you're about to find out.
Praise be to Allah.
To get to be a witness. So we're so grateful to have you. And I could like jump into like formal, just introductions of our sister, just really quickly. Our dear Sister Leah Muhammad joined the nation as a teenager in July of 1991 in Indianapolis, Indiana. She's a culinary specialist and a baker. Just fun facts, she's also assisted in building up 3 mosques and study groups in the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam, started by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that one of the greatest honors in her life has been assisting and serving as a travel companion to Mother Tynnetta Muhammad. And if you don't know who Mother Tynnetta is, she is a scholar, a mother, a businesswoman, a world traveler, a teacher, a wife of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, a soldier, and so much more. Sister Leah has accompanied Mother Tynnetta and assisted in travel coordination for Mother's travels to Mongolia, South Korea, Mexico, the Bahamas, across the U.S. and elsewhere. And she continues to work to preserve the work of our dear Mother Tynnetta Muhammad, and is gratefully continuing to strive as a soldier in the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So with that being said, Sister Leah, would you like for us to just get started and jump in with our first question, or do you have opening remarks?
You can go. Well, let me just say this. Again, it is an extreme honor to be here representing Mother Tynnetta, who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said she is the wisest woman he knows. And to be able and blessed to travel with her, to work with her, it wasn't by my doing, it was Allah's doing. And I don't want to sound spooky of what I'm saying. This introduction, if I may go, and how I met Mother Tynnetta. So when I came in as a teenager, I would look at her and be like, wow, she's just so amazing. Like, I can't wait to meet her. And so in the Vanguard class, I was asked to go on assignment to meet her. And soon as, when I tell you this is what I experienced, that I was thinking, and I was thinking the words, thinking, and she was finishing the words for me. And I was like, she really does pick up on your thoughts. I'm just humbled and honored to be able to be here. And this is like the first, I've been on several other interviews, like maybe 15 minutes here and there, but I've declined many. So this is like my first interview really of Mother Tynnetta. So the master call, you all got the exclusive. All praise is due to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to you. Hear that, y'all? We got the juice.
Come on.
Yes. No, our praises are due to Allah. And really, we keep saying it. But first of all, your humility is so apparent in how you speak. But then also, we keep saying it. We're honored to have you. But y'all heard this, y'all. This is our Sister Leah's first real interview. Y'all getting the exclusive in real time, y'all. So I guess we can just like jump into the questions then, right? And we'll try and get to, again, to everyone. Please send them to Brother Jeremy. We'll try and get to as many as we can in the time permitted. So question 1, Mother Tynnetta, as previously mentioned, but Mother Tynnetta was a scholar, a soldier, a wife, a mother of 4, a diplomat, a businesswoman, a fashion designer, a musical composer, an author, and so much more. Can you speak to what you've learned about Mother Tynnetta's creative and it's a creative and productive process in accomplishing so much? Like that's a lot in a lot of different fields. Like how did she do all of that?
The how goes into the faith. Sometimes we don't know how we're going to do certain things, but we do have faith that we're going to do it. And we multitask. You got, like, when you look at the universe, when you were talking about the stars, well, before we even get to the stars, you have the what? The atom. What makes an atom? The neutrons, the protons, the electrons. You got all of those things that compose into this into this atom, right? But there was the wheel, and it was something going on in this dark space. Like, okay, well, how do we make this man? You say Allah was created in triple darkness. Well, out of the triple darkness, there was energy for Allah to even create those self. He just is the matter, just black. When you look at functions of Mother Tynnetta, we always would say Mother Tynnetta is her own planet. Everything else is orbit around her. And I'm not saying it in like an egotistic way, but because she had so many things going on, and I would, like, still in my phone, I would have, okay, well, this is person from Horsehead Fiddle Player, Mongolia, or then it may be someone in the phone that Mongolian connection, or then we got to go to Korea, and she knew how, by Allah's grace, to balance everything. And I've always carried a notebook because we couldn't miss one step of the assignment. All assignments had to be completed. She knew how to multitask. And if you were around her, you were a worker. And for example, the fashion show that you were in, we had maybe 30 minutes to plan a fashion show. It wasn't like, okay, well, let's look at these models, let's do this. And this whole production came together. And that's where the faith comes in, because you don't know the how. You just know that Allah is going to make it happen. When you look at Taha, she said, Leah, she said, I want you to be the top Taha coordinator. And I was like, well, I listen to classical music, and okay, but okay, yes, ma'am. You never turned down an assignment. But she said, I need you to find a 34-piece orchestra in Chicago. And I'm like, I listen to classical music, but I just don't have an orchestra like on my phone, right? And by Allah's grace, I went to different places, finding this 30-something piece orchestra. Well, when you find an orchestra, there's details, especially Chicago. They have unions, so you can't just go after an orchestra. You got to have a union person to orchestrate all of this, right? And then she goes, you know what? I want a horsehead fiddle player. We're in Chicago. So now I'm on, this is big. This is 2009, before we had Facebook and all of that stuff. So I'm like chasing the internet and all of this. And people just popped up. People just literally came out of nowhere and popped up. So you have, and then Brother Kenny, the human orchestra, he was put in there. So when you look at Taha, when you talked about, well, how was she able to do all these components? You look at Taha, there's so many different type of instruments. There's hip hop, there's jazz, there's whirling dervish. There's people from Mongolia, there's harp player indigo. So you have these different components into one, and it's like, I didn't know how, but I can see that she had the faith to do it. And we could not, by Allah's grace, I thank her for that, because failure was not an option for us. Make it happen, and it is. Oh, that was implemented, working with her. So I pray that I answered that question.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And before we even ask the next one, I just have to say this too. I might as well have not even been a co-host today. There's no way I could have matched the the elegance of y'all's wardrobe today. I don't have any suits like that. So the MGT just have too much in their arsenal.
Well,
It's
you
not.
dress like
It's
Master Muhammad, the straight tie. So there you go, brother.
praise be to Allah.
Praise be to
Got
Allah.
a great
I
point.
I'll take that, Queen. Thank you.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so with the title for your subject today, faith and endurance, lessons learned from walking with Mother Tynnetta. On faith and endurance, the hour has always been critical that we're in, and is growing more and more so uh as we lose time, to do what we need to do, getting ourselves right, warning our people, preparing ourselves. What would you say you've learned from Mother Tynnetta, and even in your personal experience, has helped you to feed your faith and increase your endurance, through this mission, through this walk?
When we see Mother Tynetta, we see her sometimes as all the way up here, right? And sometimes we become I don't want to use the word spooky, but sometimes we don't think that she's human, right?
Mm.
We forget that she's a black woman. Her husband had a mission and she raised four beautiful children. And her husband told her what? When she saw him in the hospital, seek refuge in Allah. And when you watch someone, Allah blessed me to work with her for 11 years, and you watch the motion of someone. I remember one time we were in Mexico and it was just nonstop. And she said, "Sister, do you know how to control your breathing when you're exhausted?" And I said, "No." I said, "No, Mom." And she was teaching me how to breathe. And then she was breathing for maybe like a minute or two. And she's like, "Okay, I got my energy back. Let's go, Leah. Let's go." Um, but she's a woman of faith that has endured much. Okay. When you look at her, who was the age of 16, coming into these ranks of the Nation of Islam. So you look at that, and then you have to ask yourself, what is it in me that she saw? Because everyone, you can teach everyone, the minister can teach and teach and teach, but it doesn't resonate for whatever reason. And somebody can hear a lecture and go on doing what they're doing a couple weeks later, and some can hear it like, "Oh man, I got to change my life for real. I got to change my life." Something we have to understand, that each one of us are special. We're not called saviors just to be called saviors. Many have heard this, but only a few are chosen. So I look at myself and like, wow, what was in me that she saw to put something inside of me, right? And to last. And you may not understand it right then and there. I know I didn't until years later. And it's like, wow, those things that she taught me was able for me to, by God's grace, to endure. Several notes. I remember taking notes from her, was that 2010? And she talked about how it would be one day that all the stadiums will be closed and that the people will be in their houses. And I was, 2020 COVID, I had my notebooks. I had tons of notebooks and I was just reading, going through it. And I was like, oh, Allah, she said this in 2010 and what's going on in 2020. So her endurance and the faith that she was able to show me, and to be walking next to her, like I said, failure is not an option. It's so much of a broad question. We can just be on that for ages and ages, but failure was not an option. One time we were in Mongolia and we were still getting the travel situations together. So we're on this plane. And she said, Leah, tell them that you need another seat. Your mother leg is hurting. Now I don't know if you all been overseas, but in America, when you before you go overseas, everyone speaks English. But as soon as that plane gets in the air, they forget about English. So now I'm on this plane. We're on the way to Mongolia. I'm doing sign languages and, all this stuff. And everyone said, no, no, they don't want to switch the seats. So I got at the very end of the plane and someone was able to switch the seats. So then so when we were on the plane and she was like, I haven't made contact with the people yet concerning our stay. I was like, yes, ma'am. So I was like, oh, wow, we got to go to Mongolia, not knowing, the stay. And word is bond to Allah. We got off of that plane and they had these huge signs that one read Mother Tynnetta Muhammad and the other read Leah Muhammad. And I said, Mother, look, they have signs. She said, okay. So they did get our information. This faith, we're going all the way to Mongolia and we didn't know, but something was in her to say, oh, we're going to be fine. So that happened. Then we're at this presidential dinner in Mongolia and everybody, I'll share maybe another date, the colors we had on. Everyone else had on like black suits and dresses. And, Mother Tynnetta, we had these like orange garments with gold foil. We were just all out. And she was going there for Taha. So she's like, oh, they have a musical performance. She said, go talk to them and tell them you want that your mother wants to meet with them. We're in Mongolia. No one speaks English, okay? So I wasn't going to turn it down. Mother knew I didn't speak Mongolian, but she gave me that look like, again, failure is not an option, faith. So I'm like, yes, ma'am. So I'm going to meet these people and I'm trying to, again, I'm like pointing to her, doing this instrument, US. They didn't understand. So one person left and came back, another person, and their name tag, underneath their name, it said English. And I was like, I'm like tripping, like, oh, Allah, here we go, faith. They said, well, what do you need? And I was telling them. So we got to meet the group. We took pictures. I have pictures of all of that because failure wasn't an option. Most of the pictures that you see in the final call with Mongolia, I took those pictures too because I didn't have time. We had a throwaway camera. That's another subject. But guess what the name of the musical group was? Just guess. Okay, I know it's right. The name of the group was Tumor Ek. And I asked, what was Tumor Ek? What does that mean? And it meant vanguard. And I'm looking like, wait a minute, your name means vanguard. We're all the way in Mongolia. And that's what I'm saying concerning like faith. It's like Allah, when you have faith and when you have endurance, right? Allah it's like a perfect marriage. He takes the faith and he knows that you have endurance to have patience with the faith. And it is like a puzzle piece coming together. Don't question it. You just have faith and Allah got the rest. And so even from that trip from Mongolia, even with the trip from Mongolia, we end up meeting them and they did a live performance for us. But that's just a small example of faith and endurance, because sometimes we get frustrated concerning our faith. It's like, okay, I have faith in Allah. That's just it. Now, you ain't showing me nothing. But then we don't have the endurance to back it up. So then we lose faith. Then we lose it, and then we become like Surah 18. We talk about the little boy following the wise men, how he questioned him. But one thing the little boy didn't do, he did not stop the journey. He didn't understand it, but he stayed on that journey with that wise man. He kept the faith.
Wow. Wow. Oh, praise the Lord. So there's so many things in there. So, okay. Like, I just want y'all to just picture for a second. Imagine going, let me see, the distance between the US and Mongolia might be 7,000 miles away. Imagine going 7,000 miles away, not knowing if you have a place to stay when you get there. And imagine, yeah, and mother's like, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Because that's exactly how it works. You'll be fine. And I have to say, like, I'm hearing so much of just like, just the expectation, like, make it happen, make it happen. And I have to say, so just to paint a picture for what Sister Leah was speaking about earlier about about a fashion show. So there I was, minding my business one day. I had gotten relief from post and I was walking in Savior's Day on my way to go grab a bean pie because that's all I could afford to eat. I took a detour and ended up I ended up buying books instead of food because the books that they be selling at Savior's Day are amazing. I get
Yes,
caught
ma'am.
by a Sister Kava saying, "Hey, you doing anything right now? Are you on post?" I'm like, "No, I just got released." She's like, "Great, we need you for a fashion show." I thought that I was a last minute addition to the fashion show, but I just found out that the whole fashion show, I found out after 10 years just now, that the whole fashion show actually was last minute. So that's hilarious. Actually, that's a whole nother, that's a conversation and a half for another time. We'll go to the next question. So actually it speaks to something that you this is from the audience right now in Live in Time. You spoke on this earlier, but to go a bit deeper in, how did you feel about the fact that you were chosen to be on Mother's team? And what do you think it was about you?
Mm. Ooh, that's something. Okay. How was I chosen to be on the team? I definitely had to qualify myself. And the MGT Vanguard class is what is one of the training units that allow me to work with Mother Tynnetta. But sometimes we think that we choose different assignments. We don't. Allah chooses us. And some people, in order to be with a woman, a beautiful woman like that, you cannot be an egotistic person. You have to be very humble because it's not about you. It really isn't. And one of the reasons it took me so long to really go into a full interview is because not only uh-oh, sorry y'all. I'm a technical difficulty, sorry. Okay, good. Not only was she someone that I um honor and love, but she I like a travel companion. She was also we I mean my children, they were close to her. She was involved in how I even met my husband on a detail, and she knew about him. So she was very intricate, involved in my life. And so it took me so long because it's like once you're on this fast moving train working with her for 11 years and she's no longer here, I don't have anything to say but to be quiet because I'm processing it. And I want to make sure that I represent her well because not only she was mom to me, you know what I mean? And it's an honor that Allah chose me to be able to be around a woman with such beauty who has this atmosphere and this aura about herself that certain people can't even you won't she wouldn't even allow certain things, conversations, people around her. She wouldn't do so. For Allah to allow me, little old me, I'm gonna stay humble, that's from Indianapolis, to travel all the way to Mongolia, Korea, these places, and to work on these assignments with her. Um, that's what Allah put in me because everyone can't handle the journey. Some people can say, "Oh, this is just too much. I'm off the journey." Or I got personal stuff going on. We all got personal stuff going on, but the faith and the endurance to stay on the journey. And if we're able to do that, then it's like the potter and the clay. Allah will be able to mold you into something that you didn't even know that was in you. But she was able, by Allah's grace, Allah allowed that to happen. It wasn't me. Allah allowed that to happen. And because He allowed it to happen and I accepted His will, and this is where you come, and this is why I am here to discuss being a travel companion. But Allah chose me. And I'm not on a spooky way, but because sometimes we get it twisted. Oh yeah, I got on this post because of so and so, such and such. No, it's not like that. Allah chose me to be on this post. I didn't choose myself. I wouldn't dare say, well, you I did it because, I'm so and so such and such. No, I know I'm raggedy. I know I'm a rag, like the messenger say, he was so dirty you can only see his eyeballs. So I already know that I am. It was not me. It was Allah, and I pray to Allah that He allowed me to qualify myself into being her companion. So being with that, I knew that she was able to pick up on thoughts. So certain details, even with my trials and stuff, I would like, if I would get like, I got to get a shout out really to the Mexodus team. When you look at great women, also like Madam C.J. Walker and the Honorable Marcus Garvey, Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells and Honorable Marcus Garvey, they would go on these different tours to uplift Black people. Well, where did they get the money? They got the money from the Madam C.J. Walker. She funded the Honorable Marcus Garvey and Ida B. Wells. So, in order for me to be the travel companion, the Mexodus team, they helped to sponsor me to travel. And then the sisters, the MGT vanguards, they helped to take care of my children as well. So it was a whole system in place. So I knew that I may get a week notice, Sister Leah, like Mongolia. I think I got a 2-day notice or 24-hour notice to be in Mongolia. Other time, like I have to fast. I have to do extra prayer to cleanse myself. This woman is picking up on my thoughts. I want to be clear on everything because now Allah allowed me to be in her atmosphere and I don't want to disturb her atmosphere. But it wasn't just, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to pray, I'm excited. No, it was it was a process. Yes, ma'am.
That's beautiful. I have to like shout out Sister Kylie, who is joining us today as well. She put in the chat, Mother Tynnetta loves Sister Leah because Leah was so submissive. All praises are due to Allah. That's beautiful.
Beautiful
yes,
indeed.
Praise be to Allah.
Shout out to Sister Callie. It's a family affair today. The 19 energy is strong, and it is the 19th. The next question is, do you have a favorite memory of your time with Mother Tynnetta?
Ooh. Ooh, brother. Let me say this. All the times were favorite, great memories, but it was some hard. As far as endurance, so we're working on this documentary. It was Genghis Khan to Kublai Khan to Pharaoh Khan. Now, while working through this documentary, I was pregnant, right? And so I had my daughter in January. The Savior's Day was February. So I'm doing this documentary, right? So so I'm in the hospital. I just finished delivering her, and mom goes, Leah, I know you just had a baby, but were you able to check any updates on your email? And I just fell out laughing. I fell out laughing because it's like the endurance and and the work. I can say that by Allah's grace, even with that situation, the greatness came out of that working with Mother Tynnetta. When a woman is pregnant, the brain, right, or the mind fashions the womb. So, of course, how to give birth to a God, how do you're thinking. So, working with Mother Tynnetta, which was an honor, of course, and then being pregnant. And she knew that I was going to have a girl before I knew, of course. So when my youngest was delivered, when they added up her numbers, Mother Tynnetta and everything, she said, her coding is the number 19. And I was like, you know, 19, okay. And then she started adding everything up. And I was like, wow. She said, so I would, so I asked mother, can you give her a middle name? And she gave her the middle name, of course, Mariam. And because, of course, 19. And the funny but beautiful part is my youngest, she just completed Surah 2 in Arabic. And now she has, I think it's like 40 surahs. So that part of it for it's funny, but it's also here's the blessing part of it that she end up shaping the womb of me. So all praise is due to Allah.
Wow. And it just goes to show, like, when you're willing to put in the work as well, like just the kind of unexpected blessings that come your way, like who would
Yeah.
ever expect? Because there's some people who would be like, I just gave birth. I'm on vacation. Like, what do you mean? Um, oh my gosh, right, Sister Kali, right? It's very deep. Um, so here's another question. What do you wish that people understood about Mother Tynnetta?
I wish that people will understood more that again, she is she's a black woman that went through struggles as us. That as far as her, because sometimes again that we look at her and that she's unrelatable. But if we really studied her and study her, that we can go through some of the things as black women. When you look at us as black women, we go through a lot, right? And I'm not trying to say that the brothers don't go through a lot, but we different. Even our bodies change, that the way that brothers' bodies don't change. The mental part of trying to how us being so we're not selfish and we have to take care of the children. We got to take care of our brother, our sister, our auntie. This is all of this, right? And then we forget who we are. We forget that Allah created his second self to be and help meet, but also that we are God's as well. So we forget, those parts and we forget our power. We forget how powerful we are as women. So when you hear Mother Tynnetta talk about the stars and how our DNA, you can see the stardust is in our DNA. It's like, wait a minute, what? And then, now everyone is on the crystals, praise be to Allah. And then people, and how she would deal with the crystals and the crystal skull and the meaning of that. And okay, well, let's go to Bimini. It was so exciting. Let's go to Bimini and let's, look at the crystals there. And oh, let's go over in Mexico and the crystal skulls and this and that. If we understood her, how powerful and that what she was trying to do for women, you have the women. Why is there a book called The Women in Islam? Why was there an article talking about the unveiling the number 19? Well, why? Why is that? And sometimes women we forget our power. So then we lose our power because we don't even know our power. The Quran says that the men just have it's worthless water. We can take water and and let Allah take over the womb and create a whole human being. And they call it worthless water. We can take water and just think about that and create a whole human being that we can nurse our whole child for up to 2 years. Can you imagine out of our breast? I mean, you just think about that. We're so powerful that the moon still is calling for our attention. Can a whole planet, the moon is pulling on us, and we're communicating with the moon every 28 days. That's powerful. And then you have this woman, Mother Tynetta, who talked about the star, the Ryan, the belt, the series, the sisters, and how we can do this and do that, and who we are and how powerful we are. And why did Jesus have the Marys around him? Why didn't he have other people around him? Why did Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that we don't know, but when you study him, he had female generals around him? Why did Genghis Khan had female generals around him? What is our power as females? Why does it say don't kill the sheep camel? Why does it say that in the Quran? Why does the cow have so many functions? Right? You can have a coat, you can have milk, it helps with the grass, it has this, and that. She allowed us to be in her atmosphere by Allah's grace to put us up as women, to show who we are, to show our power, the female energy. Allah is all powerful. He could have been like, I don't need no help. I'm the Allah. But he said, you know what? I do. I need this woman to help me. Can you imagine the supreme being saying, I need somebody to help me? So he curated female. He curated me to help the supreme being know our power. And once that comes about, our power, our children will act differently. Because now it's like, well, dang, mom is different. She's changing the thinking. She's changing the atmosphere, the frequency in the house, in the car, at work, at school. It's a higher frequency. So don't come at me no any kind of way. I'm all the way up here on this frequency. So when Allah tries to tune in, it's like the radio. You're trying to find the station to turn into, but when you get in that area where that radio is in that tower, oh, okay, that's 92 points, so and so, such and such. That's the frequency of Allah. You got to go up higher so Allah, you can tune into him. Yes, ma'am. All praises due to Allah.
All praises. I don't know if you can see it, but the chat's just on fire. We have a women's circle too, where it's just the sisters. I feel like we need to have a part two women's circle, sisters only. Just putting it out there. But you got the sisters saying about Mother Tynnetta that she expresses the feminine side of Allah. Sisters saying you spit in 100% fire, powerful presentation. Thank you. Come on, Sister Leah. Thank you. She on fire. It's just don't know if you can see that. So I just needed to vocalize that. Pass it to Brother Demetrius for the next question. I mean, you split in atoms, sis. Like we go into it's good. There's so much.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Indeed, that was powerful. The next question, dear sister, is what is the extent of your knowledge of ESP, extrasensory perception, and why must we be righteous to fully access and put our natural abilities to use?
Ooh, that's a several part question. It's like it's similar to the lecture. If I don't know if you all were able to hear Brother Ishmael on Sunday, did a powerful lecture. It's like the tuning in. It's, I can feel someone that is about to call me, right? And it's like, oh, you can get good to the point where you can hear your text message go off. And sometimes I like to do this before I look at the phone. I can say, oh, that's Sister so-and-so calling me. And I can see if I'm right. And then I'm like, Allahu Akbar, I'm right. But that's what I was saying earlier, frequency. And when you clear all of that out, even when you go to your house, okay, you got the stuff in the closet. Are you going to wear it? You have some raggedy shoes, or you're saying you're going to fix the heel on the shoe. Get rid of it. That's something that is cluttering your mind, is cluttering your space. The radio in the head, the book, The True History of Jesus. When your mind is clear, then you will be able to connect to certain things. I will be at the hotel picking mother up sometime, and word is bond to Allah. Before I even knocked on the door, she will open the door. Assalamu alaikum, Leah. How did you get any rest? And I'm looking like she knew. Or she picked up on different thoughts and whatnot. Of course, it's going to be a time where there's no cell phones, no radios, no any of that sort of communication. When you think about Mary and Joseph in the true history of Jesus, it said Mary called for Joseph. Well, how did she call for Joseph? Did she text him? Did she FaceTime him? Did she send a messenger to him? How did she call Joseph? Our thoughts are so powerful. You can call someone, not even, Mary did it back then, thinking, and he came and come under the dust storm. She called him by the thinking. So yes, that is very I think that is very important. Also the higher knowledge. And sometimes we got to stay right here because we'll go all the way up here and then around, and then it's like, okay, well, you're a little bit, don't go all the way here and there. But the reality of it is, it is true. Mother Tynnetta did it all the time, all the time. She would do it all the time, all the time.
Well,
So I
it
hope
just,
that answers.
I mean, it answers it and then some. Brother Demetrius, were you about to say something?
Well, yes, ma'am, and you must have known because of what sister was just talking about. I just had to say that it's important that we bear witness, and that we share things like this, or
Mm.
else, it just keeps getting passed off as, oh, this person just saying this and they just crazy. Because when she started talking about knowing when somebody about to call you and knowing who's calling you before you look at it, I have that same experience a lot of times. Sister Naja said in the chat that it's the same for her. Sister Jadea said in the chat it's the same for her. But if we scared to talk about stuff like that amongst ourselves, then we don't start to see what's going on. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's very important. Like Sister Callie was saying, thank you for the reminder that Mother Tynetta never wore a watch, and she knew the time
Mm.
all the way from the hour to the minute. She knew the time. So that to me that was the sign. Of course, she knew the time. But let me say this: you do have some people that when you hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say different things of outer body experiences, and he talked about different subjects of that matter, right? Manner of that matter. That is true. You can if you're willing, right? If you're able to, that's definitely real. And I don't want to get all really into it, but of course we all experience different things because we're very spiritual people. It's not just surface. Sometimes I think we as a people, well, I would say sometimes as believers, we just stay on the surface. We don't think about when we say, well, who is the original man? Who is he? Oh, the original man is the Asiatic black man. He's the maker, the owner. What? Cream of the planet Earth. What? God of the
God of the
universe.
universe.
Well, and what universe is he a God of, though? So if I'm a God of the universe, then that means I control the universal laws of attraction, right? I control that. I'm that God. I'm just not just a universe of Mars. I mean, I'm not the God just of Mars or Venus. I know that sounds way, way, way out, but we still on this surface right here. And sometimes we have to study the surface in order to go so far out or whatnot. But we get just stuck here and then we don't go anywhere else. We don't understand the atom. We don't go into detail. Well, why was Yakub playing with metal? Why was he playing with that? Why was he playing with rubber? What's up with that? Why couldn't he use other things? Well, the Most High Elijah Muhammad said the people are on Mars, and Mother Chinetta said that they will come, other people will come to visit us, but they're not as friendly. They're not as friendly. So I'm like, wow. So she describes that, those type of people visiting us. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, now Sister Leah, you bugging, you wilding out or whatever or something else. But you can tell the different ships that are they're appearing, that are coming here. It's not just our ships that are coming here. And this is on this we're just thinking we're just here. We're just thinking we're New York. We're just thinking we're LA. We're just thinking here. We just in this box. and then we forget our power, our energy, and our frequency, and we just stay right there forever. And we don't buy any farmland. We don't do this because we're just right here and we're stuck and we feel like we can't get out because we're just right on that basic. We gotta just only do this for the people in our community. Yeah, that's true. But we have Black folks in Mexico. We got them in Puerto Rico. We got it in Venezuela. We got them all over the place, but we can't stay here. But once we tap into that frequency, other things start moving around. I think it's either on Amazon Prime or Netflix, where they hire these group of people that they call it psychic ability. And they were on, it's a documentary, several series that they were able to listen to them and get like top secret situations to Russia and all of this. I'm gonna find this on either Amazon Prime or Netflix or something, like that. So in this community, this spiritual community, some don't want to discuss it because it's like, bro, you crazy. Sister, you crazy. So when people do discuss what that they have, which is their gift, then they'll keep you with that. I remember as a little girl that I would have I couldn't get up. It was like my body wouldn't release itself. And I'm screaming and everything. But I had a pool, and I told my mom, she was like, okay, I'll sleep in the room with you. So now I'm like screaming and pulling. I'm looking down. This is like for real. I'm looking down. I can see my body. And I'm like, I'm getting chills even thinking about it, right? So I mentioned working with Mother Tynnetta. I told her that experience as a little girl, maybe 5. And she was like, oh, yeah, I have it all the time, sister. I used to have it all the time as a little girl, and I still have it. She said, that's the planes. The planes are pulling on you, having a gravitational pull. And I looked, and I was like, I felt so at home. I was like, oh, someone understands me, and I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. But anyhow, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, that answers it and then some. And definitely not crazy. You were in the right place. There are people in the chat bearing witness to that as well. Sister Anissa pointed out that in one of the parts of the time and what must be done, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did say that 25 of the ships that are out there do not belong to us. So this is 25%. Oh my, that's a lot more than 25. Wow. So I gotta go back. So we in the chat committing, we want to go back and re-listen to the time and what must be done. But also just have to say from my heart that it just underlines the importance of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because if you grew up in the US, the white man teaches you that you only have 5 senses: smell, taste, touch, what else? Sight and hearing, and that's it. We only have 5. But and I pointed out, but in so many cultures around the world, there's so much communication that goes without ever actually having to say anything.
That's right.
Any Black person knows what it's like to just, you observe something and you just give a look, and the other looks. Y'all don't even have to know each other. Mother Tynnetta said that love does make. She said it in Unveiling the Number 19. I think she said love makes telepathy easier, like between people, like just that agreement. But still, you don't even have to know each other. You could give a person a look and y'all just know y'all made observations, y'all done told jokes, y'all done made decisions, and then go and move out on it. And that's a sense too. So just as encouraging, and we strive to make it known that this is not, this is a space where you can feel free to share those kinds of experiences, but also don't consider yourself crazy because this world has gaslit you into thinking that the experiences that you have are not real life experiences. So thank you for your openness and being willing to share that. Actually, we have a question kind of along those lines in the chat. We're just going to go for it because this is what was asked. Can you give us instructions on how to successfully enter astral projection or out of the body experiences? This person says, I get right to the door, but I haven't went through it just yet.
I can't give you instructions on how to do it. I'm not qualified I'm not qualified to do that. I can only tell you the different steps that you can go. And one of the things is, you know, meditation. When we make salat, we don't just go to salat. We don't just start praying. Our minds have to be a certain way in order to pray, because it said Allah wouldn't even accept it if your mind isn't there or is ill or whatnot. So you have to breathe, which is a form of meditation, yoga. You're relaxing the body, you're relaxing your energy. You're not coming to Allah haughty or whatnot like that. So you're starting off with the meditation, just being still for a second. And you can go, sometimes people can meditate. I know I have been to the point where I'm going to sleep. Sometimes you can time travel. Well, I know you can time travel. You can be somewhere and then you can be there, but then you can go somewhere else. And those type of exercises is beautiful because you give your mind a break from what is going on in your environment. Okay, sure. Let me go to Jamaica right now. Like literally, let me go to Jamaica right now. Just gonna breathe a certain way, calm down. I'm gonna go to Jamaica. Then you'll be able to start smelling the jerk, hearing the sounds. You can start smelling the ocean. And then once you get back, you're like, I'm refreshed. I visit to Jamaica, or I may want to go to Puerto Rico. I may want to go to Africa. You literally can go there. It says in the Quran that the soul leave the body. Where does it go? Where does the soul go to? Does it go in California? Does it go into the water? Where does it go? Is there a place where just souls just hang out somewhere or whatever? Just think about that. You talking about astral, traveling. Where does it go? Where does it go? You can take yourself anywhere that you want to go. You have to, like she was doing, practicing, as Sister Callie said, practicing and also calming yourself. Take all of that stuff, change your frequency, change the channel in order to do that.
Praise be
Yes.
to Allah. It's powerful, man. Y'all let us know how y'all feeling in the chat. The next question is, what do you wish people understood about your journey thus far?
My journey thus far. Ooh, that's such a broad statement. One thing I can say in my journey, that Allah brought something out of me that I didn't know that was in me. And it's like a check and balance system. Certain things I be want to do and say, but it's like a reminder, because of a reminder is a blessing. One of the reminders is, oh man, you Mother Tynetta's traveling companion, right? So that keeps things, in check, right? The people think that it's, I hear lot of interviews and people say that they did this and they did that. And it's like, okay, praise be to Allah that they did those things with her. A woman that is so sacred and such a gift to us. You be careful in how you represent her. You be very careful in how you represent her, how you handle things, how you handle different questions. I definitely did a prayer before. I have a lot to guide my words. I don't ever want to misrepresent Mother Tynnetta. Ever, 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 ever want to because I feel the fear of Allah that something like that would happen. And I would never tell you something that I did and I didn't. You have several people say, well, I went this place with her. I'm like, why you gotta lie? Why you gotta lie, Craig? It's a joke Friday, but And I understand you want to do certain things, but because she's so special, right? You got to be careful in how you handle her. And yeah, there's a spiritual side of me, and I'm very humble. But when you look at, and I'm not calling myself the Allah, but when you look at the attributes of Allah, yeah, it's peace. And it's also a destroyer. So when it comes to Mother Tynetta, I play no games with her. If I see something by Allah's grace that's misrepresenting her, or someone said something that's not right, bootlegging her garments, doing this or that, I'm going to say something concerning that, because for as long as I'm concerned, that I'm still on her assignment until I'm properly relieved, and I have not been properly relieved being on her assignment. Okay. Um, and so with that, with those moments of being with her, taught the endurance in the spirituality of things and how to maneuver, like while you're studying Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is all the way in Mongolia somewhere. But what is the reasoning in why she studied Genghis Khan? And when I would look at Genghis Khan, I'm like, man, Genghis Khan is like, some people like, oh, he's a Mongol. He killed people, this and that. He wanted peace. All yeah, Christians, Muslims, and everybody living under the same sky, Genghis Khan. And he was a strategist. He ruled the world, three-fourths of the planet Earth, not with a gun, with a bow and arrow. Now just imagine that. Three-fourths of the planet Earth was ruled by Genghis Khan, and he only had a bow and arrow. Not no atomic bomb, not no tank, a bow and arrow. Now that's military strategy at its finest. Yes, sir. I hope I answered that question.
Oh, absolutely.
And even now, she's transitioned. It's been 8 years. Even now, you don't know working. It's like you're training in boxing. Like Creed is one of my, as I was telling you, one of my favorite movies. You're training, right? And you in this dojo, you in this ring, and you're training. You don't know why you're doing it, but then the faith and the endurance coming in. And 8 years later, I said, "Oh man, Mom, I got it. I got what you were trying to do to me and for me." Because 8 years later, I've got it, and the wisdom and the teaching and the training she put me through and put me in and allowed me to be a student. And then say, well, how do you know you have a good teacher? Well, you know you have a good teacher because when the teacher is absent, you study the student. So she was a magnificent teacher for me, because I'm, by Allah's grace and mercy, I'm still able to carry on the assignment. And I don't, and she's not physically here. She can't call me on the phone. Leah, did you call Jaime Masan? Leah, did you call Mongolia? Did you do this? Did you do that? Where's my books? I mean, it would be, man, I would talk to her. And one time, word is Montola, I had 2 pages of assignments. And she gave me to the end of the day to complete all 2 days of assignments. Like, and this is like, it was a fast moving train. She, with the Taha, the get her music copyright, she was like, Leah, I need you to copyright the music. I'm like, yes, ma'am. You didn't do that to her. Like, absolutely, yes, ma'am. She would give big assignments, and to make sure that they were done. And that's how I am with my work ethic. I can't take an assignment and it doesn't be done 1000%. She was very, very detailed in training me in that way. Yes, ma'am.
All praises due to Allah. We want to have a brief commercial real quick. I'm gonna pull up this flyer and you all let me know if you can see it. One sec. We just wanted to remind the family of the Nation of Islam's Courtship in
Yes,
Islam, the
that's
science
right.
of choosing a mate.
Yes.
which will be on the nation's program for the believers this evening at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard, which is 8 Eastern Standard, 8:30. So we don't want to be late for that. And I also wanted to ask you, Sister Leah, because we're enjoying this thoroughly,
Praise
if we
people.
can close out, if we could kind of ask you your last question at around 7:40, because we would normally close out at 7:30, but since we were kind of behind today, is that all right
Yes,
with you?
sir.
Praise be
Absolutely.
to
Whatever
Allah.
you all need. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sister. Sister Jade, did you want to take the next question? Okay.
Sure, yes, sir. So, on to the next question, right? So, from our listening audience, so did Mother Tynnetta ever talk about why she read the Quran every 7 days? This person asked, "What inspired her, and what's wrong with me? I struggled during Ramadan."
That is so funny.
It was a really funny way to, I mean, I felt that personally. There's also a question about did Mother Tynnetta meditate daily? If so, so these about like her daily habits. If so, how does she do it? How long?
That is hilarious. Ramadan, everything happens with Ramadan. It's like the world knows, hey, it's Ramadan. I'm going to call Sister Jadea and really mess with her. It's like the frequency again changes to the point where I'm about to mess you up, right? Um, so once I was in the home, this was after Savior's Day in Mother Tynette in Mexico, and I'm coming down the stairs. I was like, Assalamu alaikum, mother. It was in the morning. She was like, shh. I was like, okay, yes, ma'am. And then she was meditating at the time. And it was quiet. I can tell you that. And each time so you and I know each time I read the Quran, I get something different. It's a whole different, like this time I was reading it, I said, wow, they really cut up in the Quran. I'm like, Allah had so much mercy and patience with them people. And I said, oh Allah, I, I'm just hoping that you have mercy on us because you told not only not to kill the she camel and they killed her anyway. It's like Allah gave you a direct instruction and you went against it. And I mean, jeez, right? So every time we read it, we get something different. I've never asked Mother Tynetta the why, but I know that she told me each time that she would read it, it would be a different revelation coming from coming to her from reading the Quran. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Praise be to Allah. Moving forward, next question. Let's see.
Oh, well, did you, well, you touched on the fact that Mother Tynnetta did meditate. There was a question in terms of like, did she meditate daily? And if so, how did she do it? How long? If you recall the details?
So with being with Mother Tynetta, we were never still, like literally. Even if she was quiet for that moment while we're drinking the coffee. She would go over the instructions. So one time in Chicago, she had an airport pickup, and then the person's picking her up. Oh, the person's picking her up was the person's picking her up were late and have her. She missed her flight. So by her missing her flight, she was like, you know what, Leah, let's just go to yoga. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, she's like, look at a place that's around here. So of course we found a place and it was pretty far. And so we get there, we're looking at this chart. It had the chakras on the wall. And the person came, I don't know, he was Asian, right? And he was like, okay. And he told us to hum, right? And he kept having us to do it. And each time we did it, we would lift our vibrations would get higher and higher with the humming. The meditation, I have a daughter and she asked Mother Tynetta, she said, could you teach me how to tune in? And I was like, dang, you just gonna go straight for the questions, like hard questions. And so mother, she laughed and she said, okay, you first have to start meditating. Then you will be able to clear your things to tune in. But meditation was, I've personally never seen her meditate, but meditation, oh my God, that's just the basis of time travel, going to this place. It's so many things that help. I have to meditate daily, because if I don't meditate before I pray, the day just goes. But still, you have to be still and you have to meditate. That is so important.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Our sister
Thank you.
Callie said in the chat, meditation is when Allah talks to you, and prayer is when you talk to Allah.
Mm,
That's heavy. All
that's
praise is
heavy.
due to Allah. Also, sister, I heard you say while you were speaking, you said Leah. Is that how it's properly pronounced, or is it Leah? I want to make sure
So
we got it
Mother
right.
Tynnetta, so okay, let me tell you that y'all the story. Mother Tynnetta, first, she would rename you, right? So she named me, my name all my life was pronounced Leah. So Mother Tynetta told everybody my name is Aaliyah. So there's a joke, be like, Aaliyah, you know. And one day I had the honor and the privilege to have dinner with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he asked me to spell my name. And I did. And he said, it's pronounced Leah. So I'm going to go with the man of God. He said, that's how you pronounce my name is Leah. And I argued with him. And then mother started before, that dinner, mother will always call me Leah instead of Leah. So it went from Aaliyah to Leah.
Wow,
So that's the science of that.
that's beautiful. I'm
Yeah,
glad I caught on and asked that. Praise be to Allah.
praise be to Allah.
Um, the next question we had in the line was, we know from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that the woman is the second self of God. Why must this understanding be had by brothers, and why must it be had by sisters?
Hmm. Why must it be had by brothers, and why? I think it should be had like everybody, not just the brothers and not just the sisters. When you look, I can't speak for a brother, but I can say this. It's like if you had a car, you had your dream car, the car, I don't know, a Bentley or Maybach or whatever. And it's like, oh man, I finally got the Maybach with the seat, so and so, such and such, or I finally got this house I wanted with granite countertops. Man, this is a special house. It's going to appraise out for so and so, such and such, right? Or do you say, or you get this Toyota, not knocking a Toyota. Toyotas are great cars, but you get a 1980 Toyota. Are you going to be happier with a knowing that you had a 1980 Toyota or you had a Maybach 2024? If you know the value of what you have, you will treat it better, right? You got your new Jordans or your new suit, the new beige FOI. Be careful, bro. This get dirty easy. I want to give you cheek to cheek, but I got to make sure you ain't got no shaving cream on your suit to mess up my me on your face to mess up my suit. You're going to be very careful of how you handle something that you know that is worth value. And then when it comes with sisters, as I said at the beginning of the conversation, if we knew who we really are, who our power, like I was telling, how the moon cools off of us, vice versa. I mean, a whole moon, a whole planet. Then certain foods we wouldn't put in our bodies, certain thoughts, certain music that we wouldn't listen to. I'm not knocking the. I mean, these are our sisters. What's the sexy red Cardi B? Megan. These are our sisters. I already know, brother. These are our sisters. They just don't know their value. And even if they did, if they knew they valued in certain songs that they make, they wouldn't even. They would be like, "Now we want to revise that." Denzel Washington, he's been acting for years, but you never seen an indecent scene with Denzel Washington. You never seen you never seen him wear a dress. You never seen anything in these, because he had a certain standard that he is sticking to, and he knows his value. If the women know our value, that we the second self of this supreme being, then certain things we wouldn't do, and then we would change overnight. So yes, sir.
Easy like that. Crazy too long. As we start to wind down with questions, we have a few more. Again, we're trying to get to as many as we can. So we have from our brother Arvin's in the chat. How do you stay focused with such heavy assignments that you've had working for whom you worked for? What tips do you have to not allow the heaviness of the assignment you have to overwhelm you? Thank you so much for asking that question, brother.
Yes, that's an excellent question. Many, many of the assignments, again, was that failure was not an option. Like I said, Mongolia, that was a heavy assignment. Taha was a heavy assignment. It's something when you have the spirit of Allah in you, Allah takes over you, and He takes over the assignment. You're just there. You're just a shell, right? Allah takes over the assignment. He takes over the heaviness, and to the point where once the assignment's over, you're like, damn, I need another one, because that's what you've been training for, that your body has been conditioned for it. Your mind has been conditioned to work on these high levels or high frequencies again, and you want the next challenge. You want to see what Allah is going to do next for you. Again, when I was in Mongolia, I was thinking I was coming home, but she was like, we need to go to Korea. And mind you, I was supposed to be in Mongolia for a week. She's like, let's go to Korea. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. So we end up staying in Korea for like 4 days or whatnot. Then we get back, and then the assignment as far as like the different books, and you're listening to her talking about the stars, the mother plane, time travels, and this and that. And so now you like any other stuff that comes your way, it's like I'm on a whole nother level, a whole nother frequency. That stuff don't even penetrate you. It's like the lecture of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Fear, Faith, and Truth. How he says that we have an atmosphere around us. Once you work on those high levels of assignments, Allah allows atmosphere of protection around you. The only thing you see is failure is not an option. You don't let anything. It's almost like being a quarterback. You on the football field and people trying to tackle you. They're coming. They're trying to shut you down or stop you from the touchdown. But Allah is like, don't even trip. I got you. You just stay focused. You need this assignment, because she wants this assignment done. It had to be. It ain't just because she's just, oh my God, I think I just want to do this. Even with the clothes, the three-pleat, when you look at the three-pleat, that's scientific. 144. What? 144 Mount Zion. What's that about? When you add up the three-pleat, the 12, 144 Mount Zion. Why do you have this in your sleeve? Why do I have this on? What is this? What is the meaning of this? Everything, she never did anything just to be doing it. Everything had a reason. Everything was a revelation. She will always say that her husband will tell her, nothing is ever a coincidence. Everything is a revelation. So that's how I got through, and still getting through the assignments, by Allah's grace and His mercy, putting Him first. And by Allah's grace and His mercy, He allowed it to be successful, the assignment.
Who just asked the last question, Sister Jadea?
We have the brother Arvin's just now.
Oh no, I meant like between us two, because I got so
close. It was me. I mean, I'm down to jump in again, pero it's
no, I got you. That particular answer she just gave was speaking to me. I forgot what order we was in. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
So this question says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Leah. May I ask what you would like to pass on to your children from what you have learned from traveling with a wise woman. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. As my children growing up, we always study different cultures, right? We always studied. I would cook the food, Colombian food, and I have the music playing in the background, or we have Mexican food. We have the music, and I taught them, back then, like we are una familia. We're one family, right? We're one family, and that we're all over everywhere. Um, and so them knowing as little children, and then now they can go by God's grace and through the travel companion. Just think, we made friends through Mother Tynnetta in Mongolia. You know what I mean? We have Mongolian connection. The travel ban lifted. Like, wow, we can go to Mongolia and contact people in Mongolia. We can go to Mexico, and you see this 12-foot statue, Gaspar Yanga, and they have a whole town where they're dark complexion, beautiful Mexicans, and they and the towns are called name in Africa, Angola, and they're playing drums. And Yanga, who was a black man with a machete in his hand, he was the first slave liberator, fighting the Spaniards, because they are brothers and sisters. Their slave masters was just the Spaniards. Ours was the English and the Dutch. So carrying that type of legacy and knowing they power, not accepting anything less, is for that part of that assignment, and then moving forward, because Allah blessed me to have all daughters, and knowing the importance of their eggs, their womb, their value, and who they are, that they have a special mission to do, and to know that, again, that the littlest things, even the your hair has antennas on it, and you can attract anything that you want. When you look at real quick, when you look at Nefertiti, okay, well, she wore a fez. Well, most people didn't wear a fez, but because her husband was gone, she had to have a fez so she can get respect of the people that she ruled over. But moving forward, we all have to carry this legacy on, what Mother Tynnetta did. She just didn't do it just to be doing it and to keep it in a box or keep it on a show or whatever. What are we actively doing in music, in fashion, in going to the inner cities, or going to Mexico, or going to, well, not right now, but Mongolia, these things? What are we doing to carry her legacy on, and which is her husband's legacy, to keep that going? What are we doing? But that's what I want, inshallah, for my girls, to keep that legacy going, and knowing their value and their worth and who they are. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you again to everyone who has been sending in your questions. I'm just putting this out there into the universe. We might need to have a part two, because I don't think we'll be able to get to all of them today. But so there's a question. We have maybe two more questions left that we have time for, at least. So one, Sister, Assalamu alaikum. You spoke about you not quitting your post. What do you believe your assignment is now?
Oh, I don't think that I have one. I don't think, um, I'm sorry, hold on. I have to get this stuff together. Technical difficulties. 1 second. I don't think, 1 second, please. I'm so sorry.
That's all right, sister. All praises due to Allah.
Yes. Excuse me, technical difficulties again. Well, can you also see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So I don't think that I don't think any of us have um one assignment. I think we have multiple assignments. One of the things that Mother Tynetta had me to do before she transitioned is to I was responsible for selling her items through the final call. My number, as an ad, my number was in there, and to get the word out concerning her books, her CDs, DVDs, articles, um, all of those things. And I stood on that. Before she transitioned, my last assignment that she gave me was to, um, my last assignment she gave me, she wanted the Kubla Khan to Kubla Khan and her last production in Detroit, which was Journey to the Stars, where Sister Jadea had to do a fashion show in a 30-minute warning. She wanted that to be sold. And I did, by Allah's grace. We put it on the table. When she transitioned, I still came to the mosque. I still did what she wanted. One thing we have to understand that we miss Mother Tynnetta. We love her, but the enemy was happy because they felt as though, I know they felt like, got a hedge. With the believers are mourning. One thing we're talking about the humble part, but also Mother Tynetta, it's a certain way that you have to fight. It's like if I hit you, I'm not going to hit you in your jaw. I may hit your jawbone, but if I hit you, I'm going to hit it where it's going to matter to you. Like, damn, I felt that. She taught us how to fight. And she taught us not to give the enemy or the hypocrites no mercy. No mercy. So it's been days like, oh man, I still have to do this, still have to do that. But the enemy deserves no mercy. The hypocrite deserves no mercy. So when it comes to her legacy of, by Allah's grace, of keeping that going, anytime I can uplift her name and to keep her legacy going, I'm going by Allah's grace to do it. I feel like that is one of my assignments. All praise is due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. And I like that. Like, we don't necessarily just have one assignment, that we have many. You got us in the chat again, fired up.
Praise
So
be to Allah.
a penultimate question. So this is, it's up to you. So you had shared an experience with me in regards to Mother Tynnetta. And I wanted to ask if you wanted to like make space to like share that. It was around like the idea that she had transitioned and how we conceptualize that. Would you like to get into that question mark?
Okay, could you explain more?
So there's a lot of conversation around like Mother Tynnetta and her, like, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The question, like, is she still physically alive? And the question of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is it possible, like Brother Jabril said, is it possible that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still physically alive? And so there's been conversation around Mother in a very similar vein. And so you had thoughts around that. Up to you if you want to get into it, but that was a question we wanted to ask.
So this is what I would say concerning that. I will tell you a dream that I had. That she had called me and she had said, get something to write with. She was upset. And she said, things have gotten so bad that I must go with my husband. And I'm writing this down in a pen on a white envelope. And she said, put an exclamation mark after it. She said, read it back. And I did. So then in the dream, the dream, a family member called and said, Leah, mom is gone. I said, no, no, no. She said, I read it, that this was going to happen. She said, no, 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 she's gone. And so now fast forward, we're at this janazah and we're at Mas Mariam, and there's this rug on top of the casket, right? And we were seated and, everyone was crying. And so I told Mother Tynetta this dream. And I'm trying to hold back the tears because I was pregnant and so emotional. And she got she got up, she walked to the window, hands behind her back. She said, yes, sister. She said, Brother Jabril told me that I will be seeing my husband soon. She said, I'm sorry to upset you, but I will be seeing my husband soon. So fast forward, I got a call from a family member, but it wasn't that family member. It was a family member of hers. When we were at the janazah, I sat the same place, the dream. because they had seating, and they set me there. It was assigned seating, and I was like, oh wow. So then we walked up and we did a salute on the casket, and it was the same prayer rug that was in my dream a year ago. And I'm like, oh Allah. I can only tell you those experiences. I can only tell you that I don't see her physically. I don't say, well, okay, well, is she here? This is it. I want to stay on the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and those what he said. But I'm only telling you my dream and experience. I told her what she and I had experienced together. But all praises due to Allah.
All praise is due
Alhamdulillah.
to Allah.
Thank you for sharing that, sister. The last thing we wanted to ask is just if you have any closing remarks that you would like to share. The time is 7:44. So we
This, as a respect for the time, I know you had to leave. We had to close out at 7:40. Again, to say this, it was an honor to be invited to speak. I want us to don't forget who we are as a people. Don't forget that we are saviors, that we have the full potential. Our vessel can be the supreme being, right? That because we know we know who Master Farah Muhammad is, but our minds and our bodies have to be so on point so we can stay on a higher frequency and to embody that and keep our faith, keep our endurance, and don't let the enemy break us. Don't let the hypocrites, don't let the agents infiltrate us. Remember who we are. And that is all. Thank you.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you. Like, so just in the chat, Brother Arvin said this is one of the best interviews he's ever seen. Like, double emojis. And we have to say just thank you so much. There's people calling in from all over the world. Thank you is not enough. Shukran, shishir. I don't know how you say thank you in Mongolian. I knew and I forgot, and now I'm sad about it. But anyway, I will remember and send that to you as well. People saying they need the replay ASAP. We hope that you will come again. It has been an honor to learn more about you, right? Like as like a silent soldier, you've been in the back, but you're also so full of gems. So thank you for being willing to share that with us. And we hope that you will come through again.
Absolutely.
Had a lot of fun.
Honored. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you to the listening audience as well. Again, if you're a member of the Nation of Islam, whether you're married or not, we do have another shindig to another meeting that we get to attend after. But don't leave yet, y'all. We are going to close out in prayer. And if we have any additional announcements, I'll pass it now back to Brother Demetrius. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Announcements wise, I can't think of any at the moment aside from visiting the mastercall.live for our merch that we now have. We have t-shirts and bookmarks. For the sake of time and me not having it ready to do so, I won't show the pictures right now, but you could go to the mastercall.live and check out our merch. We are going to close out with one question and answer from the Teachings 2.0 book, as well as a section from the Holy Quran, as always, before we have prayer, which our brother Jeremy will be doing. And I also want to say, because everybody is still going crazy in the chat about how much they enjoyed what was shared today, if you have not seen the interviews from two of our audience members right now, which is Sister Leah Muhammad and Brother Arvince Muhammad,
that's right.
Definitely go and check those out. Sister Callie's, this is to me like I won't say a part two because they're so unique individually, but the 19 energy and the wisdom of the divine feminine is heavy in both of these. I'm grateful to be a part of them. So definitely check those out on the Master Calls YouTube page. Brother Jeremy, do you have the books, my brother?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. I will be reading through the Teachings 2.0 Volume 2. Let's see. Well, I guess this is right on time. So this is on page 94 on volume 2. The question is, I have a question about marriage. Why do so many people enter into marriages that they don't want to be in and are afraid to leave even when they know that they should? The Honorable Minister Farrakhan responds, when you've made a mistake, wisdom says you correct your mistake, no matter what the situation is. Even though God hates divorce, he permits it. And when two people cannot get along in peace, and there is consistent argument that drives away the spirit of love, then there is nothing to build a union on. And it is best to separate before it grows into hatred, and hatred grows to murder. And again, that is on page 94 of volume 2, Twitter teachings.
Wow.
We're opening up the Quran. All right, so I'm on chapter 13, the thunder, section 6, steady progress of truth. It's page 509 in the Maulana Ali translation.
Okay,
Yes,
one
sir.
be right there. Oh, fun fact. So one of the meanings for Leah in Chinese is indeed thunder. So I guess that yeah,
Wow.
thunder. Another meaning is flower bud. So just a little fun facts. So you said page, I think I'm there.
509, section 6.
I'm there.
All right. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, steady progress of truth. And certainly we sent messengers before thee and appointed for them wives and children. And it is not in the power of a messenger to bring a sign except by Allah's permission. For every term there is an appointment. Allah effaces what he pleases and establishes what he pleases. And with him is the basis of the book. Whether we let thee see part of that which we promise them or cause thee to die, thine is but the delivery of the message, and ours to call them to account. See they not that we are visiting the land, curtailing it of its sides, and Allah pronounces a doom. There is no repeller of his decree, and he is swift in calling to account. And those before them planned indeed, but all planning is Allah's. He knows what every soul earns, and the disbelievers will come to know for whom is the good end of the abode. And those who disbelieve say, thou art not a messenger. Say Allah is sufficient for a witness between me and you, and whoever has knowledge of the book. All praises due to Allah. Again, that is chapter 13, the thunder, section 6, steady progress of truth. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Jeremy. Alhamdulillah. Thank you again, family, for your time. We will not keep you any longer. We want to give you another thank you to Sister Leah, not Leah. I'm going to say Leah. And appreciate your mind, sister. And definitely feel welcome to come back anytime. At this time, we'll close out in prayer. I just want to thank Sister Anissa as well, as always, the maker of the master call, and all of the staff who I won't run down by name right now so that I can rid myself of forgetting anybody. But thank you to all the staff. We've said their names plenty of times, so just go back and watch an old episode. All right. Attention, prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, Thee alone do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed favors, not the path of those whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray after hearing Thy teachings. Ameen.
Ameen.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum assalam, family.